Hello everybody, this is Brother Todd with your Victory Minute, and I hope you boys and girls out there are all having a good day. I want to talk to you in this Victory Minute about something that's been just being reinforced all day long today. So thought, okay, this is something I need to maybe get out. Hopefully it'll be an encouragement or an instruction to you in some way or another. It started earlier in the day. One of our pastors, our lead elders, Brother David Gilmer, who we call our connections pastor. That's primarily what he does. He gets people connected into ministry, and he's connected, bless his heart, to everything that we do, from our buildings, our plannings, our finances, you name it. He is an integral part of what we do, and he's been serving the Lord a long time, and a man of youthful energy. He's been, many of you that are connected to our church know, he's been battling a type of blood cancer, myeloma, that has really, praise God, he's responded real well and is doing better. He's still got a ways to go, but one of the things is he, because of the treatments he's taken and some things that are coming up, he cannot be around other people, which in his case is driving him absolutely crazy, because he lives to see the word and life of Christ come alive into somebody. And anyway, he was sitting there as an airplane flying up over me. Hopefully you can still hear me. But anyway, he come in there and he started with, well, Pastor, and I knew where he was going. He's going to Easter, because I won't let him around everybody. Just, he ain't supposed to be around them, and I don't care how bad he wants to be there. I told him, I won't see you on Sunday mornings. So he said, well, Easter. He said, this will be my 74th Easter. And he about started crying. He said he ain't missed one yet, being part of something going on in the church. And I said, well, I figured you was going to have a plan. I said, well, what do you think? And so he's wanting to watch this by being off over here and doing this. And then at the end of the worship service, the invitation time, I told him, I said, well, you can stay back on the back corner of the stage where nobody can see you. And then if you need to be engaged in something, he said, that way I can make sure nobody gets missed. And, he's pumped about it. I mean, pumped. And I thought, Lord help. Here he is, almost 75 years old. And, or 75, I guess now, I don't know exactly. But he's wanting to continue. We got to recognize this moment. Doesn't live in the past. He lives in the right now, as well as anybody I've ever seen. Always moving forward. And so then I was reading where the Lord told his disciples. He said, those that he was sending them out. And he said, those that endure to the end will be saved. And he was talking about, going to get that reward. He was talking about, but it's in the enduring, not in the starting out. Spurgeon said, anybody can put their hand on the plow, but the Lord said the reward comes in not looking back. It's the starting beyond just youthful exuberance, or beyond just, what you're inspired to do in the moment. And it's that continuing. It's that pressing forward. And it's just that not quitting. I thought about how, in the early days of ministry, everybody around here was about half glad they heard I was in ministry, people, especially within the church and stuff. And, you start off and everybody seems happy with what you're doing. It ain't long. They don't like this and they don't like that. And everybody's got a problem. I got people got more problems with me now than blessings. That's all right. It's part of it. It's just a matter of going forward. It's just a matter of going forward. You can be popular as long as you're being everything what everybody wants you to be. But as soon as people realize you've got a conviction, or you've took a stand, or you've made a statement, and it's a truthful statement, and it may hurt their feelings, or it may be opposite of what their kids do or think or whatever, well, guess what? You're going to be on one side of an issue and I'm going to be on the other. But I'm not coming over there to you. I can't leave the commands of God and the convictions of God and the truth of Scripture, go over and operate on somebody's feelings. The next thing you know, well, that popularity wanes. If you're in ministry, guys, the wider your hair gets, the less popular you probably are going to be. And so you just have to continue. It's the same thing with a marriage. You start it off, everything's good, everything's great, we love everything and everything about each other, and then we have this problem, we have this issue, and it's the sticking together, it's the going through. Babies are fun, but they grow up, don't they? Right? Start turning into kids, and a puppy gonna turn into a dog. So you gotta hang in for the process. right? You got to hang in for the process. Don't quit. So many people quit in ministry and in marriage, business. I mean, you can extrapolate this out into just so many areas of our life because everything doesn't go perfect, and we get tired, and we don't, and somebody's mad at us, and we get down, and then we go to feeling sorry for ourselves or whatever happens, and we talk ourselves into, well, God didn't want me to do this anyway. And don't get me wrong, sometimes we make a mistake. God will correct the direction. But if God sets you out on a path and you know it, well, then what are you doing? What people do with it doesn't mean anything. God called you into ministry, into service in the church for Him. Again, we do it by serving other people. But what other people do with it, whether they receive the truth or not, is up to them. All I can do is declare it, right? You just, right, all I can do is push forward. Whether, it's like the school, I can try to give opportunities for people. Now, whether they're going to take those opportunities or not, I don't know. Whether the parents are going to recognize the opportunity they have or not, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in charge of what they do, but I do know I got to keep going forward, even when it's difficult, and just to recognize that the way of the cross is not an easy path. We've done such a poor job in the church of trying to convince everybody to come on, be with us, that it's all benefits, it's all perks, it's all easy. We forget Jesus said, go pick up a cross, which is an instrument of torture and death, by the way. Right? We've turned the cross into the emblem of Christianity, but in Jesus' day, it was an emblem of death. And you take up your cross and you follow the Lord, and one lays down their life, and we become living sacrifices, right? And then we go through the transforming of our minds and the renewing of our minds. But the first thing is to present ourselves as a living sacrifice, and you know how it is, and you've heard it before. Problem with the living sacrifice is it wants to get off the altar, but a sacrifice has to be consumed, and ministry is a consuming thing, and for the greatest cause on this planet. But don't quit. But don't quit. Whatever you're doing for Jesus, wherever you're at, if you're serving in Victory, you're serving in some other church, whatever you're doing, don't quit. Don't quit. Don't give up just because other people don't help you, just because other people don't go with you, just because you got to do all the work, just because this ought to be easier. No, stay at it. God called you to preach the gospel. You keep preaching it. You stay at it. God don't want you there. He'll let you know. It'll be Him. You don't have to talk yourself into it. And like with me, I'm a firm believer that if I've always prayed this, Lord, if you want me to go, then you make it during good times. Don't make it when I'm under attack, because you told me resist the devil and he'll flee from me. So if I feel satanic opposition, I don't want to back away from it, right? And sometimes that operates through people. Just because people upset me don't mean anything. There's a long line of people in Kaufman County upset with Todd Peavy. Have been for a long time, but it ain't been because I've done them no ill. Hadn't done them no ill. I hadn't said no wrong. Okay, they're having that. Some pills are tough to swallow, and sometimes the truth's pretty hard to swallow. And but you keep going. You keep going. God's big enough to move you out of that pulpit, preacher, if that's what He wants. And He'll let you know. Now, if you're just being stubborn. If you're just being obstinate. If you're staying for the wrong reasons. The easiest question to ask is, would I keep doing this even if I wasn't making $1? If they wasn't paying me a dime, would I be here? And if your answer is no, well, then you need to leave, okay? Because you're serving for the wrong reason. But the reality is, if it's just the discouragement or the difficulty, and you keep your hand on the plow, don't you look back. Don't you look back and say the former days were better than these. You know good and well, preacher. Solomon said that's not wise. Don't you quit. Don't you give up. You fight for that marriage. You fight for that home. Stay through. Hang on as best you can, as long as you can. Sometimes things get impossible. I'm not saying they don't. Sometimes you may be in an impossible situation, and it can happen. What I'm just saying is, make sure you're in an impossible situation and you hadn't talked yourself into something being bigger than it is. Stop, pray, back up, look at it. Where's the hand of God in this, right? Where's the hand of God in this? I hear people all the time, I'll tell them, you need to be praying about it. And then they'll say, oh, I'm doing that. I spent a week really getting me some Jesus time. But then they'll turn right around and act in an unscriptural way. They'll turn around and act. They'll be small. They'll act petty. You don't spend a week with Jesus and be petty at the end of it. No way. No way. So you're just lying. Okay. Yes. I'm being straight. These, I'll tell y'all something. The last minute I put out, I told one of our pastors, put it out, old John. I said, hey, John, I said, hey, this and probably be kicked off the internet, or it'll be one of the biggest ones we've ever had. And it's just blowing up like crazy. He laughed and said, why, preacher? I said, oh, because I called them all a bunch of wusses. And it never fails. I get mean. Y'all tend to like it, but I'm just saying, okay, just don't lie to yourself. Don't, and don't convince yourself of something. 'Cause you can talk yourself into something being God's will real easy. And God never saying a word. God nor the devil's group. Never saying a word. You just talk yourself into it. And if you're absolutely convinced that God's will is the easiest way out, I'd look for something else. I'd look for something else, because there is always a battle. There is always a fight for anything that matters. Your family is going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight for your family. It's going to be a fight for your faith. All right? It's just a reality. It's going to be a fight in ministry. You're doing something for Jesus at your church. There's always going to be a difficulty. There's always going to be somebody difficult to deal with. You're always going to have to forbear with the feeble-minded. You're always going to have to be dealing with somebody that's not really living righteously and all of that. It's just part of it, guys. It's just part of it. But it is the most satisfying reality in life, okay? And it's where the reward comes. It's not from starting, it's from finishing, okay? No matter how fast you start a race. I've probably told this story out on this, and I'll shut up. I probably have told this in one of these minutes. I can't remember. But when I was a young man in high school, I was an alternate on our relay teams. We had a really good relay team. In fact, I think I have told this, but I'll tell it again. And anyway, we had a really good relay team. And so frankly, I just got to get out of school. And well, one of them in the sprint relay got hurt. And so then we had back then the mile relay. Everybody ran a 440 yards. Now they run 400 meters. So anyway, the coach had me on first to lead off, because they'd know how far behind they were, right? And our anchor leg, one of good friends, one of my groomsmen in my wedding, Calvin Burley, goes, Coach said, let's run Peavy last. And everybody started laughing. And he said, no, I'm serious. He said, let's run Peavy as the anchor leg. And he said, we'll kick out. We'll get us a big lead. And he said, Peavy's so stubborn that if he gets out in front of people, even as slow as he is, he won't let nobody pass him. So that was the plan. So we jump on. Well, one of the guys, I don't remember what happened. He about half pulled up lame or something, but about the second leg, we were behind. And we was way behind. And so anyway, it gets to me, and I take off running. And I mean, I am getting it, because I realize how far we're behind. I mean, I got one guy's already at the goalpost coming around, starting going to the backstretch. And man, I blast out. I could still see there's two dads from Italy standing there on the fence, and one of them said, look at that white boy run. I could still hear him holler. He said, oh, Lord, look at that white boy run. They thought, oh, no, because I was anchor leg, so they thought it was going to be a fast one. And I know I've told this story out here before. But anyway, down that backstretch, I went, and I was reeling them in. I'd done past second and third, and I was narrowing in on first. And as I'm looking at that tree branch, he was that close to me. And right at that goalpost on that backstretch, the monkey jumped on my back. And fatigue hit me so hard. And I got so weary, and my legs got so tired, and my chest was burning so bad, and I began to slow down. And it was the greatest tragedy you ever seen on a track field. I got passed by just about everybody. I think we ended up coming in next to last. All my friends were laughing. Our coach was upset. But, buddy, I started off so well. And, boys, I'm telling you, I got blowed up. I should have just walked off the track. It was that bad. That's how slow I was running, coming down that home stretch. So I say that not to just bore you. It tickles me to even think about it. I can still see them people getting further and further and further. There's my finger. Further and further and further away from me, because I could not run no faster. I was done, man. I didn't walk, but I was moving real slow when I crossed that finish line. And I'd done so good for 330 yards, and then it was a train wreck. And it can happen in life. I have to remind myself all the time: finish well, finish well, finish well. Been a long track. Finish well. I can still see David sitting there in my office today, almost in tears, just because he didn't feel like he could do enough on what's a very good opportunity and a big opportunity for people to come to Christ and to grow in Christ. You know, Easter's a great day. God's been talking to you, show up to church on Easter. Easter's a great day to come back. You know, I was backslid once in my life. It's a great chance to come back. You just walk in your church, walk in the victory like you own the place. Act like you need to be there. If you need to get something right before God, before mankind, you do it. And you just put your foot down in the ground and say, this is where I go forward from. God will lift you back up. God rose from the grave so that we could have another chance, so we could have an opportunity for real life. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't feel like, well, I hadn't done good this year and all that. Nah, drop all that nonsense. Just come on. You come on. If you're around our part of the world at 10 o'clock on Easter Sunday, we'll be having service, and there's no life groups that day. We'll just, this day is I'm saying this is Wednesday before Easter. And so you come on, and we'll have a good time in the Lord. But you come to let God do something real in your life. Easter's a great mile marker. It's a good day to put your foot down in the course of life and in a year, and renew that wall. Get your mind around bigger things, better things, right? If you had never come to Christ, you come. If you've come to Christ, you keep going. And don't you stop. The Lord will get us home when he's ready for us. All right, well, I'm going to shut up. I know I talked too long on these things. We started off calling these things a victory minute. Somebody said, won't you call them a victory half hour? I told them, I want to keep their opinion to themselves. All right. Anyway, I tried not to talk a long time. Anyhow, love you guys. Hope for real now. If you don't come to victory, you be at your church. You don't have a church, you get to one. And if push comes shove, you catch us online, right? victorychurch.ch. And then just go to them live sermons. Will be on Facebook and them other ones too. Instagram, I think, is one of them. What's the other? YouTube, and forward them and like them and all that stuff, because it helps the word go out. And like these minutes, take them, forward them, like them, because it'll go to people in your list. And you never know. I get word every week from somewhere out in the world where something online from Scurry, Texas seems to help people. So, hey, glad you're kind of on the ride with us, and that you be at church on Easter. All right, see y'all later. Bye-bye.